Okay, welcome back to the Dublin Academy of Maths. Now remember, now we're going to do, this is Leaving Cert Ordinary Level Maths, Series 10, and it's Episode 2. And it's Paper 2, and we're doing trigonometry, and we're doing non-right angle triangles, okay? Now I'm just going to briefly explain this because it's quite a, you just really have to understand it, okay? Now, if we have a non-right angle triangle, that means angles greater than 90 degrees. Okay, so I'm looking at angles greater than 90 degrees. Now your calculator won't be able to do it. Works well, it can do it, but you can't do it by the normal conventional methods. Okay. Now this is called a unit circle. Okay. Now they made triangles out of the circle, and they were able to take away from the x-axis, and they were able to decide what angle it was. Okay. Now that's kind of very quickly. So they got this angle here. So they took it away from 180, and then they found a tan of that, and they found, or whatever they found, and whatever result they got, they were able to give it a plus or minus. Now, what does that mean? It means that they're all positive here. Okay, sine is the only one that's negative. Tan is positive. They're all positive here. Tan is positive. That means that sine, cos and tan are negative. Cos are negative. Cos, tan and sine are negative. Do you understand? So only these, all sine is positive in the second quadrant. So this is the second quadrant. This is the first quadrant. This is the third and the fourth quadrant. Sine is positive in the second quadrant. Tan is positive in the third quadrant, and cos is positive in the fourth quadrant. So you have to remember this, SATC. You have to remember that, okay? Now, we need to use our tables for this. Okay, now in your log tables on page 9, if you're still using the log tables on page 9, this type 100, pi is 180 degrees. Now they give you a list here of all these angles here, and they give them in fractional form. So pi over 3, for example, pi over 3 is equal to 180, divided by 3, which is equal to 60 degrees. So that's the angle 60 degrees. And cos of this pi over 3 is equal to a half. So cos of pi over 3 of 60 degrees is equal to a half. So they've put it in fraction forms. And also sine of this of 60 degrees is equal to sine of 60 degrees is equal to root 3 over 2. Now, so in other words, this is the answer for this. It's given in surd form. So this is fractions and this is surds because it's got a root sign. And that's all you need to know. They're giving you a result, but in a fractional result. And you have to remember that pi is 180 degrees. So if you're asked for sine of pi over 3, which we've just did, is root 3 over 2. And cos of pi over 3 is equal to a half. And they give you these results in the table format here. So you're just given fractional results. Okay. Now remember, so when you're looking at angles greater than 90 degrees, you have to use the unit circle. And this is the unit circle. Okay. Now if you look at it long enough, you will be able to find out. Okay. And cos of the angle A is equal to x, and cos or sine of the angle A is equal to y. So this is an x and x y coordinate. Okay, so if you look at it long enough, if you draw a line, you will see that that the angle here, you know, they are related. If you look long enough and you practice with them, you will see that x is the x value and sine A is equal to the y value. Okay, now I can't go any further than that. Your maths teacher should be able to give you more out of an explanation, but since I am reduced to time, I'm limited regarding time, I can only do so much with you. Okay, so in tables paint, right, so let's have a look at the questions. So right, using fractions, with us fractions, evaluate cos 60 degrees plus tan 45 degrees. Now I know these are less than 180 but 90 degrees. I'm just giving you an idea of these. Now I go to my table and I look at my fractions. I'm looking at cos of 60 degrees, which is 60 degrees, which you found out was 180 over 3, pi over, which is 180 degrees over 3. So 60 degrees is pi over 3. 45 degrees. 45 degrees is tan of 45 degrees, and you have to find out what 45 degrees is equal to. Okay, so 180. Tan of 45 degrees doesn't show it there because they're all in, we've got pi over 4, 180 over 4, 4 into 18 goes 4 times, here we have it here, and 20, 4 into 5 times, so that's 45 degrees, so it's pi over 4, okay, is 45 degrees, so tan of 45 degrees, pi over 4, tan is equal to 1, okay, plus 1. Tan of 45 degrees is pi over 4 is equal to 1. So, and right, so this is, we will just relate, this is pi over 4. So I'm looking at these angles here, and I got pi over 3 is a half, pi over cos of pi over 3 is a half, plus tan of pi over 3, tan of pi over 4 is, let's say, cos of 1 over root 2, and tan of 45 degrees is pi over 4 is plus 1, okay, 1 over root 2, okay. So now we have to add them, okay, so we have, we can add these, we can pick the common denominator, root 2, so root 2 goes into 1 time, and plus root 2 goes into 1 times root 2, okay, root 2 times, okay, so you're left with 1 plus root 2 over all over root 2. Okay, now the surds is in series 1, okay, surds, series 1, you'll be able to know how to add and subtract surds and all that, okay. So we made a common denominator, and we just added them, 1 goes into that, okay, you know how to add fractions, right now. So that's how you evaluate using fractions. Next part. Now this leads to the unit circle, okay, we've done the unit circle. Now let's have another look at another question with a unit circle in it. So we have it says find cos of 168 degrees. Now cos of 168 degrees. Now I have to find out what that is. So I have to find out, that's in the second quadrant. Okay, so I draw my circle and I put in my values SATC, and it's the unit circle, and 168 is in this part because it's 168 minus 180, and I'll be able to find out how many degrees it makes. So I subtract one from the other, 12 degrees. So it makes an angle here of 12 degrees. Okay, so a very short angle of 12 degrees with the x-axis. Okay, now I know that I know that cos is going to be negative here, so I go to my calculator, right, and I know that I'm looking for 12 degrees because it's 168, so I'm looking at the negative angle here, and the answer I get is cos of 12 degrees, and I know that it's going to be negative, so it's going to be minus cos of 12 degrees. I'm looking up on my calculator, and I get the answer I get is cos of 12 degrees, cos 12, 0.978. Okay, so cos 12 degrees is 0.978 minus, okay, and so that's your value for so cos minus cos of 12 degrees is equal to minus 0.978. Okay, and that's your fraction, that's your ratio. Okay, so this is your ratio, right? So remember, we're dealing with ratios here. It's not a value of any sort of, it's just a relativeness. Okay, back to that word again, relativity, related to, right? So, well, that's how you work out that question. So you know you're taking away from the angles, and you know which quadrant has a plus or minus in it. Alright? Another one. If tan B is equal to minus 1.2474, find two values of B, of the angle B. Okay, now it lies between, the angle B, it says, lies between 0 and 360. Okay, so it's a unit circle. Now the first thing we do, because it's greater than 160, we draw out our unit circle, and we fill in our values, S, A, T, C, And we're looking for, well, first of all, let's find the angle. So we're looking at minus 1.247, okay? So where is a negative, in which quadrant is the angle tan negative? Okay, so tan is negative in this quadrant and this quadrant. Okay, they're all positive here, tan is positive here. So I'm dealing with these angles here, right? And I find my angle, and how do I find my angle? I inverse it, tan inverse, okay? Tan 1.2474 equals. Now because it's a minus, the answer is equal to 51.28 degrees. Okay, now that's my angle. Right, now so my angle makes it with the x and y axis, if you see what I'm saying, is with the x axis. So here I found my quadrants. So this is my 51 degrees here, 51 degrees, and this is my 51 degrees here. Okay, so each one of them is my angle that I have 51.28 degrees. It's either in that quadrant or in that quadrant. Now to find that angle I have to take away 180 from 180 minus 51.28 to find that angle there, to find what the real with the x. This is the positive angle. So in other words, I'm not. I'm using this quadrant to find the angle that is left over. Okay, this is the angle that's left over, and the real angle is with the x-axis. Is this angle here? Okay, positive. So 180 minus 180 equals 128.71. Okay, I'm going to change that to degrees. So minus, I take away 128 and I'm left with this, and then I'm going to multiply that by 60, and it's 43 degrees. Okay, 43 degrees. So this is 121, which is equal to 121 43 degrees. 128 degrees and 43 minutes. Okay, now that's that angle there. So that's the first, that's the second quadrant angle, this one here. And now I must find the third one, which is, I must take this angle away from 360. So it's again 360 again. Well, it's not again, it's 180 the last time, but this is 360 minus 51.28. So I go to my calculator again, 360 minus 51.8, 51.8, yeah, 51.28 minus 360 minus 51.28 equals 308.72 degrees. Now changing that, you multiply that 0.72 multiply by 60 to change into minutes. Remember how I did it, okay? So this is the angle here in degrees, in decimals. So this is 300, so this makes an angle of 300 with the positive x-axis. 308 degrees, 308.72 degrees. Okay, so you see what I'm doing here. I'm working out my quadrants first. I'm given a value of minus, so I know tan is minus in the second and the fourth quadrant. I inverted to find out what the angle actually is. Okay, and I found that was 51.28. It's actually minus because it's minus 50. So I have to take it away from 180 to find out what it makes with the positive x-axis. And this makes the positive x-axis with that. So I took away 51 and I found out that it was equal to 128 degrees and 43 minutes. And I also did the same with 51.28, which was here, this angle here. And I took that away from 360 and I found it was 308.72 degrees. If I want to change that, I multiply 0.72 multiply by 60 to change it into minutes. Okay, so that's kind of explained. Now there will be plenty of videos after this in the latter stages. Plenty of videos. So that's everything there. Okay, now let's just have a look at the questions. Oh, that was pretty quick. So this is non-right angle triangles, and let's have a look at these questions here. Use your calculator to find sine of 197. Now you have to work out your quadrants here, take them away from, you know how to do this, take them away from each of the quadrant wherever they're in. So you can use your calculator, well actually you can use your calculator to solve that. Using the table expresses fraction or surd pi is 180 degrees, tan of 150. Okay, so tan of 150, now 150 is equal to 60 plus 90. Okay, 60 is pi over 3 and 90 is pi over 2. So you're adding them. Okay, so there your surd, get your values and then add your surds or your fractions, whatever you get from your tables. Okay, so from my tables, tan of 150, so tan of 60 and tan of 90, tan of 60 and tan of 90, so 60 is pi over 3, which is root 3, the answer to that is root 3, and 90 pi over 2, tan is it's undefined in this case, so the answer is root 3. Now some of these have undefined, that means that they're not known. Okay. Now so we have to break these up. Okay, so you have to use your head for this. Now also using your head, if a is equal to minus 4 over 5, the ratio sine of the angle A is equal to this. I'll find the angle or draw it out and look at it. Okay, I wonder why that minus is in there, you know, excuse me. And this is minus 4 over 5. Okay, because it's a negative, right? So where is that negative? Find the angle first, 4 over 5, and then find out where, and then you can deduce, draw out that triangle maybe, you know, or draw something. Now remember that maths is not a novel. We must practice, questions all the time. You can't read this, you can't say, oh I understand that, I'll be able to reproduce it. You won't. Okay, full stop. You might be able to reproduce parts of it, but you will not be able to, because you have to start burning new pathways into your head, and that only by doing questions. Okay? Now remember that I'm on dublinacademy@gmail.com, dublinacademy@gmail.com, Gmail, if you want any more information or help or support. There are plenty of other videos, and you know, this is the way to go. So do these questions. Remember that. Thank you. Bye.